former federal prosecutor Shan Wu, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General under George W. Bush, Tom Dupree, is with us. Gentlemen, it is good to see you. Two esteemed men to discuss. Thank you. Shan Wu, to you first. What does it matter what flags are over the Supreme Court houses?
Matters because the symbolism of the flag, and this could be debated, but the symbolism is thought to be with the Stop the Steal, with the rioters who brought the flag in. And since Alito is sitting on cases involving those matters, it raises the question of, does he have some kind of partisanship? Does he have a bias towards it?
Is it time, Tom, to maybe decide that everybody on the Supreme Court's got some partisanship and bias?
Well, I don't think you're ever going to have any court that is entirely free of partisanship and bias. I think that is part of the nature of the human condition. And look, in this case, I think what's particularly complex here is that this flag is associated with all sorts of different things. It was used in the Revolutionary War, but more modernly, to Shan's point, it has been used in connection with January 6th. And so I think people look at it, and certainly no surprise that Justice Alito's critics look at it, and they take the most extreme interpretation of it and attribute it to him, which doesn't strike me as totally fair.
Right, but to be fair, you're dealing with somebody who is incredibly smart and incredibly well-learned and incredibly well-attuned to the affairs of the government of the United States. You might think that they would be aware of the symbolism. I see you smiling along there. But look, for people who think institutions are so important, I think nobody thinks anything's more important than the Supreme Court and its legitimacy. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, $3.7 million from the memoir of, and her children's book since joining the court in 2009, and her staff prodded colleges and libraries to buy the books. Shan, is there a chance that there is, shall we say, undue focus on one side of justices and not enough on another?
I think there's a lack of proper focus on the whole court's accountability, whether it's the so-called liberal wing or the conservative wing. I think two members of the conservative wing have become very blatant and seem not to care about the public opinion, so it focuses a lot of scrutiny on them. But overall, the problem with the court, Leland, is there's no mechanism to hold them accountable. There's no way to actually scrutinize them, and that's a huge problem, I think, for the legitimacy of the institution.
Yeah, Tom, I guess impeachment's the only option, right? Is it time, and nobody likes doing this, for a court to set rules that actually have to be followed, or for Congress to set rules on the court?
Well, I don't think Congress needs to do it. The Supreme Court a few months ago actually adopted its own code of conduct because it had come under public criticism for not having one, and they adopted it. But it is self-enforcing. I don't think you could have a mechanism in our constitutional structure where you would have a body above the Supreme Court that could disqualify them, or you would have Congress, which is a separate branch of our government, establishing the rules by which the Supreme Court conducts its own operations. I think there would be constitutional problems with that, and I think at the end of the day, you're basically left with the Supreme Court adopting its own code of conduct and then trusting the justices to enforce it.
But the problem with that is it really makes them supreme beings, not Supreme Court justices, because if they raise the point, or supporters like that raise the point, any attempt to police them besides themselves creates a constitutional crisis. That means they can't be governed at all, and I think that's a big problem. There are ways to govern them. Congress can make them testify, talk about their potential conflicts, disclose their finances, and DOJ can even open investigations into them. But I think both of those branches are afraid to do that.
All right, you got the last word this time. You get the first word next time. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.